A guy that has to deal with the draft sometimes with his players is head coach Mike Littlewood of the baseball team. Mike, how's it going?
It's going great, guys. Thanks for having me in.
Thanks for coming in. Your weekly visit. Another win yesterday. Let's talk about that in a moment. But the Major League Baseball draft, a little different with your guys. How do you manage that when that happens? Of guys you want guys to get drafted, yet you want your team to be as good as possible.
Well, the draft helps us overall. I mean, high school players that come in, they want to go to a program that's going to send players on to pro ball. Yep. So that's huge for us. But we want to make sure. Colt Mahoney's a good example last year that he's getting his value, that he's getting his worth. I mean, because a pro scout, it's just I look at it like buying a car. I mean, you want to try to buy the best car you can for the least amount of money, and the scouts are looking at it the same way. And so, all I tell our guys is place value on yourself, don't undervalue yourself, and make sure that it's a tough life. Minor league baseball is a tough life. I mean, those guys make about $1,000, $1,100, $1,200 a month, and they don't get paid during spring training, only when they play. So it's a tough deal when you go into pro ball. There's no glamour in it whatsoever in the minor leagues, and so it is. We need the draft, we need scouts, but it's kind of a two-edged sword a little bit.
How often are scouts calling or talking to you about your players?
Weekly, almost daily. Depends on how many players you have. At Dixie, when we were at junior college, that's why we got a lot of those really good players, and we'd get 5 or 6 drafted every single year. And it was a daily conversation. When we went D2, there weren't many players because we were transitioning. So there weren't many players that we got drafted in those 4 or 5 years that we transitioned. Now, they're getting better players down there because of what Dixie's all about. But here it's pretty much daily with a certain amount of guys, and that's nice to have that buzz and have those guys around.
Do you start to see a pipeline or relationship forming with coaches and teams that have specifically drafted your players and then wanting to come back? Oh, this guy was amazing. What about this guy?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I think you're on right there because I think they have trust in you just like anything else. And when you can send them a player first of all, they know from BYU they're going to be good character guys.
Right. Yep.
You're not going to have off the field problems and I think the perception out there is that now when they're in pro ball, they don't care about that. No, they do. They really do. So when you get a Jacob Brugman, an Adam Miller, an Adam Law, Jacob Hanneman, those guys are quality guys that are going to go out and play for you hard on the field. And then when the game's over, you know what they're doing. They're going home. They're going to sleep. They're getting a rest. And that's probably the worst thing they're doing is playing video games. And that's awesome. Yeah.
Head coach Mike Littlewood of the baseball team is on BYU Sports Nation. 5 wins in a row now. You beat Utah, 3 with San Francisco, and then Utah Valley last night. What's going right for your team?
Well, I was asked that question last night by Jay Drew, and I think overall it's just confidence. Early in the season, we didn't really believe in ourselves. We didn't know if the 3-hitter was going to get a hit, or I think Dylan Robinson, who had a slow start, felt like he had to do everything himself. And now Dylan's just on fire. I mean, he got 4 hits last night. But overall, we're taking the field with confidence, believing that we're going to win. And that just kind of develops. I mean, you win a couple games, and success breeds confidence. I mean, that's what everybody says, and it's true. I mean, you tell your guys, hey, you're good, have confidence. Well, that's easier said than done because we just started 2-10. Why are you saying we're good? This team is a mature group of guys, and I really feel like even though we started 2-10, and you look back after that 3 weeks, we're 20-9 right now after that 3 weeks, and so we've really played well, and I think that's the biggest thing is confidence. We believe in each other. We're having guys step up in the bullpen and later in the pen. We're getting good starting pitching. So besides just physically and going out and doing it, it's a mental belief that we feel like we're going to win right now.
It definitely helps when you guys are looking good and fashionable as well, right, with the black uniforms.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you came up with the design. We were talking about it earlier, and that whole process. And can we expect for you guys to wear these a little bit more?
Yeah, they're an away uniform, so we'll wear them away. We're going to wear them against Utah, but we call it anthracite, and it does look charcoalish.
Yep.
Irvine, my first year here, Irvine wore them the last game that they played us, and I loved them. It's something different, but if you look around, Vanderbilt wears them. There's a couple teams that wear them. Vanderbilt has the same color, but they're white striped.
Okay.
It's just it's unique. It brings up some conversation, and I was telling you guys, there's a site called D1 Baseball. And they had like 20 different teams have different kind of uniforms. And There's at the very top, it's I love them. At the very bottom, it's I hate them. And there's 3, I kind of like them, whatever. It was either I love them or I hate them. And that's okay with us.
Because we love them.
Yeah, I do too, because I designed them, so I have to love them. But it's the guys like them, and they're built. Both of our new home cream uniforms, the off-white, and these we cut them off at the knee, so everybody's looks the same, and it kind of brings a little camaraderie as well. So, and we're all out there together in them.
Right.
Players love that kind of stuff. What they don't love is having the sprinklers turn on mid-game. So that happened in the 7th, I guess. Describe what in the world happened at Brent Brown Ballpark last night.
Yeah, Tanner Chauncey's on first base, and Dylan Robinson has a 2-1 count. Ball's about halfway to the plate, and the infield sprinklers come on. About eight sprinkler had just come on, and I just
so awesome.
Believe it or not, it's not the first time. Jay Drew, yeah, there's a picture of it right there. It was pretty cool. It's not the first time I've seen that, and I was telling these guys when down at Dixie it happened, and I was the only guy, because I took care of the field. I was the only guy that knew how to turn the water off. So I'm coaching a game. I had to sprint down to the water to the main valve and turn it off. It's clearly the walk or jog or sprint of shame when you have to sprint down and turn the sprinklers off. And Ralph Zobel told me that when Jim Schlossnagel left UNLV, everybody was so upset that he was leaving UNLV because he had just brought that program to new heights. The last game they played at UNLV, they kind of came up with a little deal where the groundskeeper set the water to go on during the game, locked it, and left. And so
what?
I can't verify the truthfulness, but Ralph Zobel told me, so it's got to be true.
Hey, if Ralph said it, I believe it.
That's so shady.
It was interesting.
Was that home field advantage in a way? Try and slow you guys down? You had the lead. It's the 7th.
You know what's funny is the next inning, Eric Mattson, Utah Valley's coach, is a good friend of mine, and they got in kind of a jam the next inning. He goes, and he's walking out to change a pitcher, and he goes, "Is there any way I could turn the water back on again?" So, yeah, it was interesting.
We got a tweet question for you at I Do Rock the Y, member of BYU Sports Nation. He says, "How did having a challenging schedule to start the season benefit your team?"
Yeah, that's a great question. We knew it going in that it was going to be really tough, but nothing surprised us after that. We saw in the first 3 weeks, we saw 4 pitchers that sat 95 to 98. We saw Dylan Tate at Santa Barbara, who might be the #1 pick overall in the draft. He was 97, 98 with a good change. And I told you guys earlier, having that fastball was probably his 3rd best pitch that day. Changeup and slider were just awesome. And so I think overall it just showed us that we can play with these, because we lost. We were 2-10, but we lost 3 of those games by 1 run, and then took Nebraska into the 11th inning, had chances to win them. And so we felt like, man, we're playing with these guys, just head to head. Something's just got to go our way. And that confidence thing, if we're playing like we are today, back then, we probably go 6-6. We're not going to win them all, but we probably have a little bit better record. So I think it just prepared us for a tough league that we're in right now. No pitcher that came out there is going to surprise us during league.
When you look at the rest of the season, you want to finish in the top 4. There's a West Coast Conference baseball tournament. The auto bid comes out of that tournament winner. You're in 5th right now, but right outside. I mean, you're just a couple games off first. What's it going to take to get into the top 4?
Yeah, we've got 11 wins now, and I've said all along that I think 16 is going to get us in. The nice thing is we have, besides San Diego, we won the series against Pepperdine, Loyola, Gonzaga, San Francisco. We won 2 out of 3 against each one of those, and then swept San Francisco last weekend. So really, that's like an extra win. Nobody else below us can catch us. So we play Pacific. We play the bottom 3 of the bottom 4 teams, which doesn't mean a whole lot in our league because every team can beat anyone else.
But it's better than playing 1, 2, 3 right now.
It's better than having the reverse schedule, and having to go. And that's what Pepperdine's got to play. All those top teams have to play each other, and so they've got to go fight it out. We've got to take care of our business, but if we win each series, I really believe we're going to be in.
Absolutely, and it'll be an exciting next couple of weeks at Pacific this weekend. Best of luck in Stockton.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Mike Littlewood, head baseball coach on BYU Sports Nation.